Okay, so you guys saw what happened on Twitter yesterday with President Trump's account. It basically became offline for 11 whole minutes, which is a long time, especially because we know President Trump is very active on Twitter. It's a social media platform he uses to reach out to the masses. And come to find out, Twitter said they looked into it, and it was a disgruntled employee on their last day decided to just somehow suspend the account for a period of time until Twitter found out about it, reinstated the account. The president is aware this morning. He basically said, hey, looks like this happened to me. I guess I'm making a little bit of an impact here because everyone noticed. So a lot of people are asking how this happened, and there was a cybersecurity expert that CNN actually interviewed, and they have a whole article about this. And they basically said that there's no internal control when it comes to, you know, a human body being able to control these social media platforms versus some of the automated system stuff. It's still possible that a human could go in and do that. And so Twitter is looking into it, of course. They want to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. But yikes, big deal.
But here's maybe a broader concept. We rely on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these things, social media, but these things are not a given that they're going to be around forever. This is something that it's a business. It's not a charity. They're there to make money. They've got their own terms of service that you agree upon, and if you violate them, if you post something that they don't like or that other people don't like, you can get pulled. So we take these things for granted, but very quickly, if you violate it or deeper into the system, obviously this was something that they did not want to happen. They rectified it.
Internal, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that we rely on these things that they're not going to be around forever.
It kind of surprised me that a lower level employee could shut down the president's account. I mean, that's a little worrisome. I think it's an employee on his last day, which is kind of funny in a way. You know, it's like, haha, guess who I shut down today?
Right.
That I could actually, look, Darius in the mailroom's last day shuts down. Okay, pretty funny.
Yeah.
You win the cocktail party with that one, Darius.
Right.
So, but other than that, that is a little unsettling. But there's no damage done. But I think Twitter needs to look into their policies of can the guy in the mailroom actually shut down the president's Twitter account?
And I think they did say it was somebody. I need to look again what department this person was in, but they did say customer support employee. So somebody who's got knowledge of how this thing works.
Customer support employee doesn't sound too high up the food chain to me.
Yeah, but obviously,
it sounds like Darius in the mailroom.
High enough to get access.
But remember,
just like Darius in the mailroom.
This is his own. Excuse me. This is his own account. So this is not the official president of the United States Twitter account. This is his own account that he's now carried over into the White House.
Yes.
Which they're going back and forth legally. This is kind of a gray area. Some consider it the official presidential record because it still is him and he's speaking as the president. But as far as there are two accounts there. He inherited the official POTUS account, but he also that's his personal one.
And this has always been the concern. President Obama was the first president to use Twitter. About I think a year or so into his term is when he finally got the Twitter account, or maybe even sooner. But it was a concern that if you have somebody as high profile as a president, that's why he didn't use a personal account. He was using the POTUS account because I think it probably had more security features, or at least there were more people involved in what happened online. But now that we know that the president, just like any one of us, can grab his phone in the morning and do it, what are the social risks there?
Huge.
It's massive.
Let's say Darius gets into that account again. Darius in the mailroom at Twitter gets into.
He could have written whatever he wanted.
He could have written something like on Real Donald Trump saying we're about to bomb North Korea. Everybody grab your ankles.
Right.
And then everybody sees this, and it's like, oh my gosh. It's like you don't assume somebody's going to hack the president's at Real Donald Trump, but this is a security issue in this cyber media world that we live in.
And you can't always assume, too, that that tweet was written by that individual. There's lots of people that they tweet on their behalf. I believe with the president, Obama, if he wrote it himself, he would write B.O. Otherwise, it was just from the office of the president, whatever they wanted to say.
But we know that Real Donald Trump is the president.
Right, as far as we know, he's the only one writing those tweets. At least that's what's been said.
I think we've all seen some entertainment and sports people lately who have tweeted things, and then it becomes a big firestorm, and they all immediately go to my account was hacked.
Right, exactly.
Oh, really? That's what that's probably what I'd say too when somebody picked up with something I didn't intend for to be big.
And on another kind of sidebar to this, Twitter has suspended high-profile accounts before. for violation policy rules being
Sure.
broken. Rose McGowan is one of the recent ones where she, after all of the Harvey Weinstein sex scandal stuff came out, she then sent out a private phone number
Correct.
via Twitter.
Right.
Twitter went through and suspended her account. Twitter got backlash, so then reinstated it. So it's at what point are you going to follow your own rules? They reinstated it without bringing back that tweet. But it's one thing to hide or make a comment invincible, and then it's another thing to actually take the account and pull it offline. But then the process of reinstating it again, it's almost like, okay, well, it seems like it can happen at any time to anyone whenever they want. Are there real hard guidelines within Twitter about being able to do this?
It's supposed to be.
They're supposed to be, but I mean, for every example of they canceled this person's account or suspended it, there's a million examples where roughly the same thing happened and they didn't.
Right.
So there's definitely supposed to be. But how do you, I mean, think about how many millions of accounts there are. How do you manage something like that?
Facebook has that same problem with managing ads. You know, we just covered that in the news this week, you know, about all the Russian trolls in these little rooms and pushing out disinformation during the presidential campaign and then ads and whatnot. It's hard, you know, to monitor millions of people and millions of ads when you're a Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram.
And with the Facebook story, just to give you a quick backstory there, more than 3,000 of those fake ads were purchased by Russia, according to Facebook. More than 45% of their Facebook users likely saw those at one point during the election last year. They were, you know, popping up in swing states, and some of them were very graphic and really trying to persuade you into a certain direction. So it just goes back to social media can work for and against you. And you've got to be careful.
A lot of people,
not always trust it.
And a lot of people, you don't want to say are gullible, but it's whenever I see something pop up, the first thing, no matter what it is, I'm looking to verify that.
Right.
And a lot of people are not looking to verify. They
believe
will
what they
share
see.
immediately. And I'm like, really? Did you? To me, that wasn't even close. But they just are willing to go for it. And I think that's why Russians have been successful in kind of jamming us up, is that we have a lot of people in this country that will see something and look at it as gospel. And right away, I would think anyone with a half a brain would go, really? Plus a lot of it's misspelled, and I have to email you and say, would you please take that down because you look bad by sharing it.
Now, how many times have you seen something that's obviously not true? You go and do the research to try and help them out, and you either put it as a comment or maybe, you know, a side personal message. And they won't.
They still don't want to believe that.
They don't want to, and they'll say, well, just the fact that this could be true is crazy, don't you think?
Wow.
So there's a reluctance to admit that you were duped or that you might have to change something. That's just...
It's America.
That's
how it is
human,
these days,
you don't want to
man.
admit that you're wrong. We
It's
all
America.
go through this, and it obviously extends to Facebook.
And there are websites out there that are specifically for satire, you know, and so you've also got to watch out for those. But rule of thumb here, again, just be careful what you're clicking on the Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitters of the world. But when it comes to President Trump's account getting turned off, that did concern me for bigger reasons, that somebody easily could have gone in there, said something to really set off Kim Jong-un, and then bam, what could that have led to?
Right.
So
let's hope he verifies tweets.
So what are people saying about this one?
we still have a lot of people talking about the California teacher strike for Sacramento. So I see all your comments. Blake Cooper said he violated the First Amendment in a way that our fathers never would have guessed another president would ever do. So I think some people don't necessarily mind that this happened, and other people are going to look at this like, wow, this could have been really bad. Depending on what side of the political aisle you're on, not putting that into play here. It's scary that somebody in the back room, Darius as well.
Darius in the mailroom. I mean, he's out there at happy hour right now with all of his buddies, and they're toasting, and he pulled off the caper.
Yep. All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah.